Am I the idiot for canceling a trip and refusing to pay my friend back for flights? I am currently on a semester abroad in Italy until Easter, from the UK. My friend Polly wanted to come and visit at the end of next month. We had been talking about this trip and planning dates for ages, and she still hadn't booked anything, which is obviously fine. However, in the meantime I had been having some mental health issues and family drama and would like to go home to my parents around the time she is supposed to visit. It is the only time that my family will be free when flights are affordable for me to go home. 3 days ago I sent Polly a long message explaining the situation, and that I was sorry I would not be able to host her at the time we had planned for her to visit. She had still not booked anything at the time but immediately seemed a bit defensive and sent me a message saying, "This is the only time I will be free to visit you, can I come on? I can book flights today, is that okay?" I immediately, within 30 minutes, replied saying, "No, I'm sorry," as I explained I would now like to go home at the time we had been planning the visit. And in any case the first 2 days of your trip aren't what we discussed and I have always been unable to host you at that time due to. Normally I would say to book 2 days later but as I said I really need to prioritize my mental health and go home at that time if possible. She didn't respond again until the next day and told me that she had already booked flights before checking whether I'd replied and that she was expecting me to host her on the dates she had outlined. I was quite shocked by this and told her I couldn't host her then and that she should have checked my response to her questions before booking the flights. She is now very angry and insisting that I should pay her back for the cost of her flights, around £100, which is a lot for either of us. But I told her that this shouldn't be my responsibility as she should have double checked with me before spending the money. I later offered to refund half as a peace offering but she said this wasn't anywhere near good enough. Polly told our mutual friends the situation and they are all saying I'm taught and should pay her back in full as she and her family apparently have no money. I'm devastated to have lost this friendship on top of everything else going on in my life and really confused about whether I'm in the wrong. So am I the idiot for canceling this trip and refusing to refund my friend for her flight tickets? Update. To the people who said Polly was lying about booking a flight because it seemed suspiciously cheap, she could have cancelled within 24 hours. She booked on a cheap UK airline and this is fairly standard pricing. Plus their cancellation, refund policies are what you'd expect from an airline where they charge you extra just to sit next to the person you booked with. She's many things but not a total liar. She definitely booked after I told her not to. After everything blew up with Polly, we didn't speak for a couple of weeks. I talked it over with my parents and they said that I was under absolutely no obligation to pay her a penny, which I agree with, as did all of this sub. However, they suggested that I could offer to pay a small amount, like 20% of the fare, in the interests of salvaging the friendship. I liked this idea as I was still feeling so heartbroken and didn't want to throw away 10 plus years of friendship if avoidable. So I sent her a message explaining that I didn't feel I owed her any money for her mistake, but that I really cared about her and our friendship and that I would be willing to make a small contribution if it meant that we could meet on happier terms in the future and resume our friendship. Well, she left me to read. For over a month, she did eventually reply to tell me that I should still pay the full fare, claiming she was seconds away from booking when I originally spoke to her, and then messaged me a reminder of this a few days later. That second day was my birthday and she sent me no well wishes along with it, just a reminder that she wanted money. I'd finally been pushed over the edge. I was absolutely raging and told her it was unacceptable to message me poop like this on my birthday. That was the last time we spoke and I've now blocked her on everything. It also turns out she didn't tell as many of our mutual friends as I thought. One of them is no longer speaking to me. I've tried to reach out but she's ignoring me, so I'm leaving it because who needs people like that? Another pair had heard the story and said they wanted to remain neutral, which makes me think they didn't hear the whole truth. But I can't be bothered to push it as they're still cool with me and don't really care about the Polly drama. I'm feeling great now, things are going well with my family and I am really enjoying my last few months of semester abroad. I've made some good friends and am having the best time. I wish all the drama had never happened, but I'm grateful to have seen the true colors of someone I would have continued to trust otherwise. Thanks for all the support here, not the idiot. She isn't your friend if you requested space and she refused to give it to you. It's not like you said, "Oh, I have other plans now so don't come." You told her you were struggling and wouldn't be able to host her, and she insisted on coming anyway. When you gently reiterated your point, she immediately booked a flight, and then had the gall to tell you to reimburse her. No, the only words out of her mouth when you told her how you were struggling and couldn't host her should have been, "Think nothing of it. What can I do for you right now?" Not the idiot. It's really sad, but what I learned getting older is that some friendships just have an expiration date. Especially at your age. Studying, spending time abroad, adulting, there is so much development going on, and it's normal to just go into different directions and part ways. It might not look like this now, but it might be for the best, seeing how you already have quite the differences in how you treat friends and what they owe to you. Should they have paid Polly back? Let me know in the comments. Now, Alta for ignoring my teacher's request for money even if I can afford it. I feel horrible but I'm known for being a pushover, so I'm coming to this sub in hopes of either validation or a reality check. I, female 25, play tennis regularly, and I train 3x a week with 2 different teachers. One of them just started training me as my usual teacher was not available in my time slot anymore. My dad, we train at the same facility, wasn't thrilled about this as he told me people he knows don't like working with him, however he didn't know specific reasons. However, I didn't have issues with him since we started our sessions in April up until a month ago. I pay for my classes in advance, so I have paid my May classes since April. My first issue was when the teacher asked me for payment mid-May again, and I felt like he tried to guilt-trip me by telling me he was in a rough spot financially. I told him I already paid, and he left me alone but went to my dad and tried to get payment from him. My dad, bless him, paid him the month of June in advance for me so he'll stop bothering me. Yesterday he straight up just asked me for money, about $50 and that he'll repay me next class. I don't feel comfortable lending money to anyone, let alone someone I have known for 3 months. However, he went again with the guilt trip about his family and his children. I ended up just ignoring him until he didn't message me anymore. I feel terrible and can afford the money, but it's the principle for me, as I don't know how he feels comfortable to constantly be begging me for money. I'm not even comfortable with having classes with him anymore, but I know he'll take a hit financially if I don't pay for my classes and more so. My sister also trains with him and will drop him if I do. He doesn't ask her for money, as she is still a student. Am I the idiot? I feel terrible and conflicted. Update. I read all of the comments and while I still feel guilty, I want to thank everyone who took the time to reassure me of my decision. In short, I reported the teacher myself yesterday and I canceled my classes with him. I tried to not get my dad involved because I'm an adult after all. However, the begging teacher cornered me after my session to guilt trip me again, and tried to coerce me into keeping him as my teacher, telling me it was a one-time mistake and I will never understand because I'm privileged. I escaped and called my dad, who then went there and raised hell, and basically got the teacher suspended because it was his 5th complaint in a year. He tried to tell my dad I still owed him classes, but as y'all know we had our back covered. We won't be getting back the classes we paid in advance though. I feel guilty for his family and especially his kids, as he lost 2 students. My dad pulled my sister from her classes with him too, but I feel reassured by my choices. I will probably look into some dance classes to fill the gap of those training sessions. Thanks again everybody. ETA. Just so you all know, the teacher has been fired. According to my dad, this guy is an alcoholic and in addition to the money complaints, he also had complaints from his morning students that he was always hungover. It was too much for the administration to look past. I hope he gets the help he needs, but in the meantime he has no place as a teacher. More so, and some of the complaints were from the parents of students who are still children. Not the idiot. You did the right thing. It's really the consequences of his own actions that got him in trouble, and it sounds like you're not the only person he might have done this kind of stuff to. Not the idiot. Teacher here, thank you so much for reporting him. His behavior is so wildly inappropriate and abusive. He is abusing his position of power over minors and should not be teaching under any circumstance. Would you have reported him? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot for refusing to pick up my coworker? I, male 30, drive to work which is located in a somewhat rural area with no public transport. Everyone else at work drives too. Recently, a coworker in my department, male 30 plus, told me his car broke down and he asked me to pick him up for work. The thing is, he lives in a different town from me, which means I will have to detour and add another 30 minutes to my commute. He doesn't want to get Uber as it will be costly. I told him to get a bus from his town to mine and I will pick him up from the station on the way to work. It will only add an extra 5 minutes to my commute. He refused as he will have to get ready very early. The bus trip will take about 20 minutes. So I said no, I can't pick him up, and he got mad and called me an idiot. I do feel really bad because Uber will be expensive, but I don't feel like waking up early and adding to my commute just to drive him. We do work closely as a team though, so I'm afraid this will make me look petty. Am I an idiot? Update. A couple of weeks ago I posted asking if I'm the off for not picking up my coworker to work. I was torn because I've worked with him for 3 years without any issues and it was the first disagreement we had. So thanks to everyone who said I'm not on and put my mind at ease. On to the update. After our uncomfortable conversation, I went to a training program in another state, so I didn't see him until the next Monday. I drove to work as usual and he also came in. By Uber, I found out later. We didn't speak until lunch when, to my surprise, he apologized to me. He said he was stressed about fixing his car. He had to replace the radiator and wait for the part, and having to spend more money on rides. He admitted that he has never taken the bus. He moved to this city 3 years ago for the job and never had to use public transport since he's always had a car. So he was feeling anxious and took it out on me, I guess. He said I didn't deserve it and I accepted his apology. So he still Ubers to work since he doesn't want to get up early. But I offered to send him to the bus station near my place after work and he can take an Uber home from there. It's easier to get a ride at the station instead of from our work. He graciously accepted and offered to chip in for gas, but I said it's fine since we'll be going the same way. So he bought me lunch instead. I ended up sending him for 3 days, then he got his car back. Some people might say I shouldn't offer to help him, but it wasn't a bother for me, and who knows if one day I might be in his position. Our working relationship is stronger now and I'm glad we could both move forward in a better place. That's my update. Have a great day. Not the idiot. This was a great update. Also a great reminder that sometimes we act like idiots not because we're bad people, but because we're just going through it and aren't handling it well. Glad he owned up to his poop, and glad you helped make something positive out of it. Not the idiot. Takes a lot of empathy to be able to project your best intentions onto somebody else's poor behavior, but it takes far more guile to do it safely with finesse. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for taking away my wife's access to our money? I have been married to my wife, Ashley, for 7 years. I am the only one that works. Ashley spends her time volunteering at a charity she started. I am fine with this as I make enough for both of us. In financial decisions we have equal say. I will admit that I am the numbers nerd of the relationship, so I do the budget and handle our investments. My wife has equal input into the budget. We both have to agree on it. Like many people, we are saving for retirement and a couple of other financial goals. Ashley's sister and her family are going through a lot of financial issues at the moment. My brother-in-law lost his job and my sister-in-law is reaching out to my wife for help. They are asking for us to cover their monthly expenses. I said no. While we have some discretionary money, we don't have that much. Both my wife and I get fun money to spend however we wish each month. I told my wife that I would match whatever amount of her fun money she wants to give her sister from my fun money. My wife doesn't want to do that. She says that won't be enough money. She wants us to reduce the amount we are saving each month to help her sister. I refused. I do not want to jeopardize my family's future for her sister's present. Ashley was very unhappy with my answer, but I refused to change my mind. I found out last week that my wife gave her sister money out of our general savings account. I was furious. To me, this is a complete betrayal of trust. I confronted her and her reply was that I forced her to go behind my back by being unreasonable. I was angry. I ended up going to the bank and opening up new accounts in my name only. I moved the balances to my new accounts. I left enough money for the expenses that she typically pays according to our budget, things like groceries, her gas, etc., as well as her fun money. I did not leave her without access to any money. I did leave her with access only to money that she is supposed to spend according to the budget we both agreed to. I went home and told her what I had done. She is accusing me of financially abusing her. I pointed out that she is the one that abused my trust, not the other way around. That is, it is on her to prove to me that she is worthy of my trust because after what she did, I don't trust her anymore. She said if that was the case, she should just leave. That she wasn't going to be treated as a child. I told her to leave then because I wasn't going to give her the opportunity to steal from me again when it is clear she isn't even sorry for what she did. She left to stay with her sister. I believe I am completely justified for what I have done. She is the one that broke our agreement. Did I take it too far though? This was the first time she ever did anything like this. Did I let anger get the best of me? Am I the idiot for taking away her access to the money? Update. Well, it looks like the posters that commented that my marriage is doomed were correct. First, after reading the posts I agreed that it was not fair that I had access to our savings and she did not, even though she gave some away without my consent. Following the advice of several posters, I contacted my bank and I found that the account could be changed so that while both of us could deposit money, it would take both our signatures to take money out of the account. This would give her the same control over the accounts that I had by putting them under my name. I contacted Ashley to let her know that I would put the money back in the joint account if we switched the account to require both of our signatures. She said no. That just showed that I didn't trust her. I told her I didn't. She had taken money without my consent. Of course I didn't trust her. She refuses to change the account. I refuse to give her unrestricted access. So right now I am still the only one with access to the money. We also tried marriage counseling, another suggestion that posters brought up multiple times. The counselor asked both of us to say what we thought was wrong with our relationship. Ashley said that I had abused her by taking away her access to money. I said that Ashley had broken my trust by giving away money without my consent. It took a few sessions, but it became pretty clear that we just weren't going to see things the same way. I wasn't going to commit to supporting her sister's family, and she refused to see giving them money without my consent as a breach of trust. The kicker came when it got close to the end of the month and Ashley demanded, not asked, demanded, that I put $3,000 in the account for her to use to pay her sister's bills. Her reasoning was since she stayed there we owed it to them. I told her she was ridiculous and that if I wouldn't do that while we were together, why in the world would I do it now? She walked out of the session and told me that she wouldn't continue counseling until I agreed. I contacted a lawyer and filed for a legal separation and will be filing for divorce. I found that I am legally obligated to pay usual and ordinary bills of the household, but I am not required to pay any bills for where she moved to since she left voluntarily, so I am doing what I am required to, including things like paying for her car insurance and her cell phone. But I am not giving her access to any other funds. She has asked, more like demanded, I give her money as she will be getting it when we divorce, but I don't have a way of making sure whatever she is given comes out of the final settlement, so I am refusing. Not the idiot. I can't stress this enough, obey your attorney. Do not take the high road man up or any of the other BS things people are going to tell you that you need to do. You only need to obey your attorney. That's it. I'm sorry this happened to you, not the idiot. Do whatever your lawyer is telling you to do. It's too bad you don't have a prenup since she wasn't working, you might have to pay alimony. I hope things work out for you in the future and I'm sorry you were taken advantage of like this. At least you now know how selfish and self-absorbed she is and that reality will bite her hard in the ass when she realizes she needs to get a job and support herself now.